Welcome to History's Mysterious Minds, the audio podcast that delves into the strange, unsettling, and often overlooked corners of the past. Each episode, we explore not just the minds of forgotten individuals, but also the legends, mysteries, and stories they left behind. From infamous outcasts and shadowy figures to forgotten crimes and lingering folklore, we uncover the obsessions that shaped them and the questions they took to the grave. Episode 2, John Horwood, the boy whose skin was bound in a book. Today we're heading to 19th century England, to the city of Bristol, to a courtroom, and then to a dissection table. This is the story of John Horwood, a 17-year-old boy hanged for murder, a trial that raised eyebrows even then, and a punishment that went beyond death into science, anatomy, and the binding of human skin. Yes, human skin. This is one of the darkest footnotes in British legal and medical history, and today we'll examine the strange, unsettling mind at the centre of it all, and the even stranger mind that followed it to its gruesome conclusion. Let's begin. John Horwood was born in 1803 in Hanham near Bristol. There's little recorded about his early life, but what is known paints a picture of a working-class teenager with limited opportunities and a sharp, impulsive streak. What made John infamous wasn't who he was, but what he did. In 1821, John was accused of throwing a stone that struck a girl named Eliza Balsam on the head. Eliza had apparently rejected John's affections. Some accounts suggest jealousy, others hint at a fight. Whatever the motive, Eliza's skull was fractured. Weeks later, after surgery and complications, Eliza died, and John was arrested for murder. Now here's where the story starts to twist. This wasn't a clear-cut case of premeditated violence. The stone may have been thrown in anger, or perhaps in reckless youth. But the trial? Swift, condemning, almost theatrical. John Horwood was sentenced to hang at just 17 years old, and on April 13th, 1821, he did. Publicly. But death wasn't the end, because waiting for his body was Dr. Richard Smith, a prominent Bristol surgeon. And Smith had plans. Dr. Smith had been the one to operate on Eliza. He may have felt personally involved, or perhaps, like many surgeons of the time, he saw Horwood's body not as a person, but as a rare opportunity. After the hanging, Horwood's body was dissected in front of a public audience. Yes, public. Hundreds came to watch. And then, Smith had Horwood's skin removed. Why? To bind a book that documented John Horwood's crime, trial and punishment. The skin-bound book still exists. It sits today in the archives of the Bristol Record Office, bound in the very flesh of the boy it condemns. What kind of mind makes that decision? Not John Horwood's, Dr. Smith's. It's tempting to view this story as a simple tale of justice served, but when you look closer, the edges blur. The sentence was harsh, the science was invasive, the post-mortem treatment, arguably inhuman. Was Horwood a murderer, or a tragic figure swept up in a society that needed to make an example of someone young, poor, and expendable? And what of Smith? Did he believe he was preserving history, or indulging in a macabre sense of ownership over life and death? The story of John Horwood is short, brutal, and unforgettable, because it's not just about a boy who died for his crime, it's about what society did after he died. He became an exhibit, a warning, a curiosity, a name on a spine made of skin. And even now, 200 years later, we're still asking, was this justice? Or just a gruesome obsession with control, punishment, and the human body? Thank you for joining me on this journey into one of history's mysterious minds. If you found the episode thought-provoking, don't forget to follow, like, or subscribe wherever you're listening, and leave a review to help others discover the strange and unsettling stories the past has tried to bury. Have a figure folktale or unsolved story you think we should explore? Send it our way. We're always looking for the next mind history couldn't quite explain. Until next time, stay curious, keep questioning, and remember, sometimes the past isn't buried. Sometimes it's bound, waiting to be opened.